So, after what has been a pretty interesting week with Superman marketing, I thought it would be ideal to also scale back. While I can't get my review out yet, to talk about other interesting developments in the MCU that I haven't been able to talk about. Spider-Man Brand New Day is going to be the fourth Spider-Man Tom Holland film and extends Holland's tenure as Peter Parker towards 2026. Now, before production even started, we already saw some concepts through the director of photography, Brett Pollack's Pinterest account, basically confirming some leaked pieces and rumors that had been floating around about the film. Now, before we get into this, we will only talk about the villains that have been rumored to appear in the movie, not the recent castings of actors like John Bernthal as the Punisher and the Bear's Lisa Colon-Zayas for that matter. And a quick note on that, she's definitely not playing Rio Morales because it just doesn't make any sense. I'll get to the specifics in this video. But basically, this is not a multiverse story, and I'm pretty sure that only after June 2027, when Beyond the Spider-Verse actually releases, will we, get some fast-track development on Miles Morales and his entourage in the big screen, in live action. So we will basically tackle Sadie Sink's character as a potential villain, although she might just be a love interest from the original Brand New Day comics, Carly Cooper, or even, Jackpot, a superhero that emerges in that said comic run. And of course, we will see the specific cases of Scorpion, Super Samurai, Tombstone, Mr. Negative, and Savage Hulk. So let's talk about Savage Hulk, the most heavily talked about. So he's an alter ego of Hulk. He's aggressive and deadly, out with the truly most heinous versions of Bruce Banner, and of course, Hulk adjacent characters, such as Devil Hulk or Claw. But also, this is pretty much his most least intelligent form. So it's going to be pretty much a contrast and pretty much a battle with what we've been seeing with the Professor Hulk versions since Avengers Endgame. And now, Savage Hulk is thus much more prone to attack innocent people and other heroes, often considered mindless. He still has some intelligence, which is normally put into completely destroying anything that has the misfortune of either angering him or getting in his way. He deliberately attacked, women or children, but that's just specifics that's in the comics, not really interesting for what we have to discuss here. So an alternate version of Savage Hulk is going to be Savage Banner. He might appear, since, we have Mark Ruffalo appearing as Bruce Banner. It is pretty likely that we will also see Savage Banner in some shape or form. And he's a furious version of Banner who has the same bloodlust as Savage Hulk. He retains Banner's appearance and pretty much should not be confused with the mindless Hulk. That's a more devolved version of the Incredible Hulk under the thrall of Nightmare. This is also something that happened in the comics. So leaker Daniel RPK had stated that Savage Hulk will be a main antagonist. Now, there have been some other theories and details floating around as to why Mark Ruffalo is appearing in the film. So this was confirmed by Nexus Point News' report. And yesterday, July 7th, as I was recording this video, that redacted guy, also another reliable scooper on Twitter, and he pretty much dropped a photo of Norman Osborn, a comic version of Norman Osborn with the caption, "He's coming." This was already in the cards, as Norman and Harry Osborn were essentially the profiles that Marvel was looking for in a May 2025 casting call. So Daniel RPK, he had posted, he's looking for a young actor within the age range of 20 to 40. And that was the same for Norman Osborn from 30 to 50. So it was pretty much on that age range. And people began to speculate that it was likely Norman and Harry Osborn. Now, with Oscorp being one of the organizations involved, it can be interesting as to how Banner goes from this calm, composed, at ease with himself Hulk in the past few MCU projects to somehow dabbling and meddling with the wrong crowd at Oscorp. Some also suggest that, the female casting call that was pretty much, quoted to be Viper, and we will get to that in a second, could be an indicator of a female Doghawk as well, who also may be involved in Banner becoming Savage. So this is all, my theory that an experiment is likely going to fuse with the gamma radiation that Bruce Banner already has, and this is going to make him more violent and more irrational. Now, Oscorp is one reason, but also with Mr. Negative's rumored appearance, one might also connect the dots. So in the PS4 games, Martin Lee works at Feast, an organization that has also been introduced in Far From Home. Aunt May was one of the manufacturers. She worked there. And of course, with that in mind, he might also be a part of this experiment that goes wrong, or just deliberately corrupt Banner's gamma energy and use him for something shady, maybe to grow his criminal empire. And, he also does this under an organization that May has worked for. So I guess you can start to see where the pieces match. So this is going to be the emotional link that pretty much will drive Peter's story throughout Brand New Day. At least this is my theory. If, we're going to that route of Mr. Negative controlling the criminal empire and pretty much, being the reason behind the emergence of all these villains. And with Osborn emerging here on the other hand and establishing Oscorp for the first time in the MCU, this also gives Peter the heads up to not trust Norman Osborn, since, a variant of his namesake killed his only family in No Way Home. So the next villain in our shortlist that has also been rumored, and this is pretty much going to be the 3 villain batch that appeared on the Disney Consumer Products event that Disney had in May. So this was pretty much a guest who was there and attended that convention that pretty much, showed some promotional artwork, and of course, informations were given out for Disney's future releases. Now, Disney, of course, distributes the movie with Sony, all the Spider-Man MCU films. And with that being said, this is also reliable. So this info that Scorpion, Boomerang, and Tombstone will appear in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Why? Basically, on Toy Story 5, we also had another casting that was announced in that same event that Conan O'Brien would be playing the character. I'm not pretty sure who's it gonna be. The next 2 villains that I'm going to present here, they're pretty much linked, not only in comics, but of course in the way that these infos were shared. Now, basically, this is not confirmed because, Alex Perez from the Cosmic Circus, he's a very reliable, I wouldn't say leaker, but scooper. He does bring out some very accurate details about the next stories of the MCU, especially he has a great theory on how, Shang-Chi and Shang-Chi 2 will be connected in the Ages of Atlas and all that. All this to say that, of course, Destin Daniel Cretton will be the director of Spider-Man 4. He did answer a question in his monthly Q&As about the MCU on his Discord about how Brand New Day is going to be, who exactly will be the villains. So this question was pretty much, about who was going to appear, who is going to show up, and, how is this going to take a more traditional Spidey approach. Perez answered and said that he did find out some new information about the villains. And of course, this new lead is exactly one that pointed us in the right direction. Us as in, Paris and his crew. New concept art as well features a samurai character. And if it is who I think it is, and this is why I said this is pretty much of a guess, it's not accurate information, but still it could be important to speculate. It's possible that we may very well be looking at Viper and Silver Samurai as the main antagonists for Spider-Man Brand New Day. So this might tie into a storyline that involves a team-up featuring Spider-Man and Shang-Chi. Now, people say that Spider-Man and Shang-Chi will team up, not just because of the director, but because, Shang-Chi 2 or Black Panther 3 or even Doctor Strange 3, these were supposed to be films that were going to be dropping at the same time as Spider-Man Brand New Day and as well as Avengers Doomsday. So 2026, we had a date that was February, if I'm not wrong, and that has been since removed by Disney. This is supposed to be another one of those films that are attached to the main event, just as, as we saw with the Black Panther and Avengers Infinity War, same with Captain Marvel, how it reached $1 billion, and of course then we had Avengers Endgame. So this is pretty much the strategy until we see that, of course, Disney's new ownership basically scaling back on the quantity of films that MCU is bringing into theaters, especially due to, of course, fatigue. So therefore, Shang-Chi's storyline may be moved up to here. That's why we are seeing some elements, especially because Silver Samurai and Shang-Chi, despite not having a very thorough story, they are indeed linked in the comics. Last but not least, we also have Viper. So Viper, she already appeared in live action twice with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Ophelia Sarkisian also appearing in 2013's The Wolverine, so in the other Fox universe. I do believe that the third version will not appear, neither the first, as it's, more masculine take on the Viper. And I do believe that with the casting calls that we already had, Viper will be based on Ophelia Sarkisian. She has a very, very thorough history as well with Silver Samurai. Now, despite both characters intermingling throughout, organizations like Hydra or even the New Mutants, as you can see on the cover, I do not think that will be the case. I don't think that that particular storyline will be adapted, especially when we talk about the iteration, the most common iteration of Silver Samurai, Kinichiyo Harada. I do think that if they are in it, they will help set up a new Shang-Chi movie, and maybe it has something to do with the Angels of Atlas. Now, it's not the same story, but it might be something adjacent to that in a potential post-credit scene. So we'll wait and see. So who in fact you guys want out of these villains to appear in Spider-Man Brand New Day? I will be doing my Superman review tomorrow on the channel, so stay tuned. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.